Joining us now for the interview tonight is somebody who has been really aggressively involved in the push to get us to eat better as a country. Tom Colicchio, chef, food activist, top chef judge, and as of today, the brand new MSNBC food correspondent, host of the new online show, Stirring the Pot, which will be airing on Shift. Tom, it's great to see you.
Likewise.
So, has it made a difference in your activism world around food issues and hunger and healthy eating that Michelle Obama has taken on these things as her issue?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah. And she's done such a great job. And both the president and first lady, I think they realize that you need to broaden your audience. And how do you broaden the audience? You need to use various types of media. It's great going on the late night shows, but how do you use video? You know, we've come such a long way from Video Killed the Radio Star on MTV to now millions and millions of people watching online, millennials who are actually coming to the dinner table and talking about these various videos that they saw and discussing them with their parents. So in a way, it's almost like the gateway drug towards infusing politics and policy into the conversation. But you're actually starting from the ground up and from again, millennials up to the adults.
Around food issues, obviously some of it is policy and therefore hardcore politics.
Yeah.
A lot of it is raising awareness and is getting people to think about it in basically a raised consciousness sort of way. With all the different things that you do, I mean, obviously you're restaurant king and the top chef stuff and all the other forms of activism and forms of business that you do. What do you feel like is most effective at getting the messages across to regular people?
Sure. Listen, I think you need to break down complex problems and give them to people that they can easily digest. I mean, for instance, we're looking at fruits and vegetables, and Michelle Obama's done a great job to try to encourage people to eat fruits and vegetables. But how do we create a different incentive to get people to eat fruits and vegetables? We know that fruits and vegetables are typically more expensive than processed foods. Mm-hmm. So how do you get people who are trying to eat better but don't have the money to do that? How can we get them to afford fruits and vegetables or actually create an incentive to do that? Now, that has to go to policy. If you look at subsidies, $25 billion worth of subsidies, 85% of that goes to commodity crops, 15% goes to meat and dairy, 1% goes to specialty crops, or what we know as fruits and vegetables. And so there has to be an underlying and a corresponding policy change to actually make those more affordable.
So you have to affect both the supply and the demand. You have to make people want them, and then you also have to make it reasonable that they can try to get them.
People want them, and I think that Michelle Obama is doing a great job to get more people to want them and understand the importance of why fruits and vegetables, whole grains are important. I mean, we grew up with the food pyramid. Remember the food pyramid? Now it's a food plate. Half of that plate has fruits, vegetables, and whole grains on it, yet our underlying policies are not supporting that plate. Mm-hmm. And so, again, I think this is a way, we've got to break these complex problems down and give them in bits and pieces so people can digest it, understand it, and then go from there. And there's a lot of food issues that are sort of food stories, but we don't look at them as food stories. I mean, for instance, look at the Deepwater Horizon spill. And the tons of oil that was put into the Gulf. That's a food story. That affects the food chain there. That affects the fisheries there. That affects people's livelihoods that rely on those fisheries. We look at the overuse of pesticides and herbicides and it leaching into the waterways and getting into the water system and actually then creating a dead zone in the Gulf. Another food story. And then there's the light side of it. The Super Bowl comes around. Of course, it's about the game and commercials, but also about food. And so then you take hunger issues that are sometimes complex, and how do you break them down so people understand it? And I think that's what our country, they're ready for it. We've seen the Stand and Stir shows. We have a whole network, dedicated to food. We have reality shows that I've been part of. Mm-hmm. We have the travel shows that we see. And I think people are ready for that next conversation around food. People want to know what's in their food. They want to understand food safety. They want to understand socioeconomic issues around food. They definitely want to understand and fix hunger problems. And so these are all food stories, and they need to be told.
The connection between our individual decisions about this stuff, which we're all very in touch with, and the world at large and policy stuff, I think is a connection that you've been making better than almost anybody. And we're so happy that you're here.
Thank you.
It's great. Tom Colicchio is the brand new MSNBC food correspondent, a phrase I've never said before, host of the online show Stirring the Pot, which is going to be airing on Shift. Tom, it is really, really an honor that you're going to be joining us here. We're all really excited.
Thank you.
Thanks. Tom Colicchio. Tom Colicchio, MSNBC. Do you believe it? I know. We'll be right back.